I've learned a lot about myself since I started over in the Scottish countryside. I was in search of a slower, more sustainable way of life, and it turns out I'm more resilient than I realised. I'm a better problem solver, and I'm a lot more practical than I used to be. I've grown my own food, repurposed piles of old junk, and slowly started bringing myself back to life. But I have completely failed at slow living. My self-worth has been tied to my productivity levels for so long that separating them feels almost impossible. And when you live in a giant work in progress, it's very difficult to see anything but one big to-do list. I can't remember the last time I went on a proper walk. I haven't made bread in months, and there's been a distinct lack of nutritious meals lately. I can almost hear the lecture about priorities my mum would give me if she was still alive, but sadly, this is a lesson I've got to learn on my own. It's a damp and grey day. I've been feeling a bit under the weather and I'm in between projects. So I'm going to spend the day doing some of the small things that I just haven't been making time for lately. Set timer 45 minutes.
45 minutes, counting down.
My rescue hens are finally regrowing some of their feathers just in time for the cold weather. I never expected chickens to be such good pets, but spending time with them might be my favourite part of the day.
Good job, Scrags.
You're all such good chicks. We've gone from the well being dry and there not being any running water to all of the water butts overflowing incredibly quickly. The worst thing about this bread, which is just a simple seedy overnight no knead, is you have to wait an hour before you cut it. And that is difficult because the smell of fresh bread is incredible. It looks a bit wonky close up, but I feel like if you squint, it could be an artisanal loaf in a bakery shop window. If the window was steamed up and you were standing on the other side of the road. I've run out of batch cooked meals and I've eaten cereal for dinner more times than I care to admit lately, and that needs to change. So I'm making some soup. 1 onion, 3 cloves of garlic, 1 cup of dry red lentils, 2 large carrots. I don't think this recipe realises quite how large my homegrown carrots were. This entire bag is 2 carrots, and it weighs almost 2 kilos. Something I forget on an embarrassingly regular basis is just how much better I feel when I eat good home-cooked food, and yet it's the first thing that I stop doing when I'm busy or stressed. It's stopped raining and I've come outside to do a couple of the jobs that I've been putting off for far too long. Like planting and harvesting, some things have to be done at certain times, but aside from that, all of the pressure I'm under is entirely my own doing. Would it be nice to build another 8 raised beds before the snow arrives, to put in more fruit trees and more rainwater collection, to widen the driveway and repaint the living room? Yes. Will the world end if some of those things don't happen? Probably not. I've always been like this, and it turns out it takes more than a change of location to unlearn the habits of a lifetime. Hey, Chook Chooks. Hey, Chook Chook Chooks. That's my finger. You can't have that. I'd completely forgotten about these spring onions. They're a bit worse for wear, but I'm sure I can clean them up and use them for something. For small onions, these are strong. I'm really enjoying dehydrating. It makes food take up a lot less space. This was a 500 gram bag of frozen onions. There was a power cut here the other night, and while it only lasted half an hour, the life of everything in my freezer flashed before my eyes, and it was a good reminder why I'm teaching myself different ways to preserve food. I know I could run the leaves over with my lawnmower and it would take a fraction of the time, but I really enjoy raking them, and you've got to get your joy where you can. Most of the leaves will end up in my leaf mold bin, and I'll let them rot down and use them to mulch the vegetable garden with at some point in the future. But I'm going to put a few bags of them in the chicken run to try and stop it getting too muddy and swampy when the rain comes from certain directions over the winter. I brought you a present. The chickens are relatively easy to please. They won't eat any of the garden scraps that I give them, but they love to rootle around in anything that I put in the run. I don't know if the chickens care, but these dark evenings are not my favourite, and the clocks only went back 4 days ago. So there's more sleep time for you. Yeah. This is Scraggy. She's my favourite. Don't tell the others. Those are my wellies. Don't peck those. I don't need beak marks in them. Making this fireplace slightly less flammable is one of the more important jobs on my to-do list. Burning down the cottage might speed up the renovation timetable, but it feels like it would involve a lot of admin. It's amazing how much better you feel after eating a bowl of homemade soup, having a sit down and not looking at your phone for half an hour. I'm sure there's a lesson in there somewhere. See you next weekend.